Welcome back to NDIS Untold podcast. Today we have Tanya joining us today. So Tanya, introduce yourself. Tell us who you are and why you're here.
Okay, thank you. My name is Tanya and I have a son who's 21 years old. He has been diagnosed with a rare genetic disorder, 1p36.3. I know it's a big name.
Wow. Never heard of that before.
Yeah, it's quite rare.
Yeah.
So the story is basically quite complicated, just like his diagnosis. So when Jaden was born, we were told that everything was fine. There was no problems with him.
Yeah.
We always wanted to have a child, and I decided to have Jaden at 33 because I was very busy with my career.
Yeah.
When Jaden was 3 weeks old, he stopped breathing, and I didn't actually know what convulsions were. And being in the haze of not sleeping and being a new mom, I didn't know what was going on. I thought he had some reflux or, needing to burp. At the end of the day, we had to rush him to the hospital, and 21 years later, we have been through so much medical, emotional, physical. We've sat in corners where we couldn't breathe because our son was in ICU. So Jaden's disability shows that he can't walk, he can't talk. He had seizures for 12 years, and it was 8 seizures a day.
Wow.
He used to stop breathing.
Yeah.
But it didn't look like a seizure. It just looked like he was choking.
Mm-hmm.
And then his whole body would go blue.
Yeah.
It's a very emotional thing to talk about because in that moment as a new mum, you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
You don't know whether you should call an ambulance.
Yeah.
Then when you do, you're surrounded by 15 different specialists questioning you about this and this and that.
I mean, it's hard enough trying to navigate being a new mum.
Yeah.
Let alone, having faced that as well on top of everything else. That would have been very, very scary for you guys.
Oh, absolutely.
Did you have any supports outside of the medical system?
No, I think that, yes, I did. Yeah. I had my parents, and obviously the grandparents were, a massive support.
Yeah.
It really got to a point where we had to make major decisions, and that is David and I had to make massive decisions on Jaden, and that is do we intubate him? Do we take him to hospital? Do we take him to ICU? Do we put the mask on for oxygen? Do we press that red button in the hospital? Yeah. What do we do? I suppose the supports came from reading up on what was going on with our son.
Yeah.
And in hospital, we had grandparents come and let us sleep for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And, we sat around the hospital bed in ICU. Doesn't mean you can leave your son in ICU.
That's right. That's right. And it's hard enough. You wouldn't want to leave your son. So when did you get the diagnosis? So after that 3 weeks, you said you ended up in hospital. So when did the diagnosis come?
Diagnosis came within a couple of months.
Yeah,
and when we found out that he had a rare genetic disorder, we didn't know what that meant. We didn't know what the deletion meant.
Yeah.
We thought, it was just something wrong with his ear, that it was a little bit different. And, at the end of the day, we weren't medical and we weren't specialists. We were in the IT world and, we were in the coding world. Yeah. So we then delved into reading up on the rare genetic, and we decided that we needed to connect worldwide to who's out there.
Yeah.
And luckily there was a team in America, and there were many photos of 1p36, but they all had different deletions, and Jaden's deletion was a little bit different, which meant he was a little bit worse than the photos that we saw.
Okay.
So some can walk, some can talk, some, you know,
Yeah.
each disability is so different.
Yeah. So what does that look like for Jaden?
Well, Jaden has 172,000 chromosomes.
Yeah.
Proteins have been affected.
Yeah.
So the first part of the chromosome has been deleted in both pairs.
Okay.
So in the world of CRISPR, it can never be cured.
Yeah.
In a world of the new, you know, beginnings of changes with DNA manipulation, it's a no.
Yeah.
And so what does it mean? It means that Jaden is vulnerable.
Yeah.
He's vulnerable to the elements.
Yeah.
He's kind of like a bubble child.
Yeah.
You know, so I have to be careful, the wind, you know, the cold.
Yeah.
And also too hot. Because with his seizures, if he goes above 37 degrees, he goes into a seizure. Okay. And that seizure could go into status, and that status could go into a coma.
Yeah, okay.
So
every day for you guys, it's like eggshells, isn't it? Always watching, always making sure that, you know, Jaden does not get sick. So what does that look like then, I guess, in the world of NDIS, now that we have NDIS, is that, you know, you have support staff then coming in supporting Jaden. So they have to be, I'm guessing you would have to ensure that the staff that are coming in are not sick. They're ensuring that they're washing their hands, you know, they're keeping your space safe for Jaden's sake. So how can you tell us a little bit about what does that world look like for you guys?
Oh, wow. Well, Jaden is our only son.
Yeah.
And for 21 years, I, as a mum, have put everything. I dropped my career.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have kept him alive by monitoring him.
Yeah.
Making sure that he's breathing, his temperatures, that he's not too hot, not too cold, that he's been fed. You know, and that he's taking his medicine on time. So our life is very routine.
Yeah, of course.
And if you can't follow that routine, and, you know, we are very scripted.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like, I mean, you know, the Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
Except that my boy is now going to be 22. And, you know, you look back and you think, wow, time has really flown. So what does it look like? Well, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work for us parents, because we have to train, we have to take the time to show them how to move them, how to feed him, how to do the medicines.
Yeah.
And then there is a moment of being able to see all the stuff ups.
Yeah.
Because people are never going to be like me.
Yeah, of course.
I've had to be OCD.
Yeah.
I've had to be on time and on par, because this is how I've kept Jaden alive.
Yeah.
And I suppose when you have support workers, you have to have the right, you know, you really have to have the right people come in.
Absolutely.
To your family world, because you're exposed. Your whole world is on display.
Yeah.
And so 50% of me don't like it. And I wish I could just not have anyone come and see me in my pajamas, you know.
But that's your life now, isn't it?
Yeah, that's my life.
That's your life. So where random people are coming in, and you need to be able to trust them.
I need to be able to trust them, but unfortunately, my anxiety doesn't allow me to trust anybody.
Absolutely,
because for many times, although the support workers are fantastic and they're doing their uttermost, my son could just choke and aspirate.
Yes.
And I'm the only one that can seem to get him out of that aspiration. He can't sit up. So he's 21, as tall as me.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can't assume that the support worker as one person is going to grab him and lift him. So I have to be a ninja.
Yes.
You know, and I get him out of that that choking, and he can literally die in your arms.
Yeah.
And so, you asked me, how do I feel? Well, I feel that every time I leave, I have to, I just have to let go.
Yeah.
And I have to learn that it's going to be okay, and that when I come back, he's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And I don't think people actually understand our world. You can talk about the support workers' world. They can do their shift and they can go home.
Go home. That's
they
right.
can sleep.
Yes.
But we're still at home.
Yes.
We still see that you didn't do the dishwasher. Or or basically that nappy shouldn't be on that way.
Yeah.
But you don't judge. You have to accept. And we are so grateful to be in Australia.
Yes, absolutely.
We're so humbled to be able to have NDIS.
Yeah.
The service providers, the support workers are obviously been well trained by us.
Yes.
But we're not recognised for doing all that hard work.
Yeah. So what was it like for you before the NDIS? Were you supported by, the old mob back then? So what was that like for you guys?
Well, we had disability services. We did have maybe 2 hours a week or 3 hours a week support.
Were you getting any form of therapy at all for Jaden?
Well, I decided to actually, my story is interesting. I decided to leave my partner in, because we're not married, we're de facto. I decided to leave him in Sydney so that he could work and that I could bring Jaden to Brisbane. And for 8 years, I did it by myself.
Oh, wow.
And I discovered that early intervention was very important.
Absolutely.
And so I found that conductive education school was available for babies.
Yeah.
And I flew Jaden with my oxygen tank.
Yeah.
And he was seizuring all the way over here.
Oh, wow.
And I was all on my own.
Yeah.
I was just praying, please don't die, don't die, don't die.
Yeah.
We can't land.
That
you
would
know
have
what I
been
mean?
tough.
Just don't. Yeah, it's tough. It's very tough.
That would have been scary.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. And but I was very determined to give him therapy, give him the opportunity to understand what maybe reprogramming of the brain is the way to go, because being in the IT world, I've always researched and learning about genetics and learning about being a specialist. I understood what needed to be done. And so I just left everyone behind.
So you flew here because they had the therapy here in Brisbane?
They had, yeah, they did.
Okay.
Back then there was Xavier School.
Oh, yes,
And,
yes.
I brought him to school at 14 months and we did 3 days a week.
Yeah.
And that meant hydrotherapy. It meant reprogramming of the brain, of conductive ed. It meant he was with other people like him, and I met other mothers, and together we were all like, oh, I don't know what's going on here, and we shared information.
Yeah.
And after a while, being 6 years into it, I realized that we all, mothers and fathers, we all needed to have, what do I do? Navigating the maze. And navigating the maze was confusing because we dealt with the hospitals, the education.
Yeah.
Therapy
and
the
government.
Oh, we dealt with the government, but the government didn't deal with us.
Yeah, of course.
So, at the end of the day, we decided to create a handbook, and the handbook was basically for giving parents like ourselves information. And, I was a co-author with my friend Michelle Rhodes and many other carers. We gathered, we created a group, we discussed, and having all the skills to be able to put it together, we had a maze of people that really wanted to help and really wanted to get this information out.
Yeah.
So we had Shine Lawyers in the Cerebral Palsy League help us publish it.
Yeah.
And 10,000 books went out to
perfect.
everyone around service providers in Queensland, including the hospitals. So you can imagine a young mama, leaning over, grabbing our book and reading our story. we wanted to inspire, we wanted to let them know you are not alone.
Yeah.
It seems like you're not alone, but I do have to say you are sometimes alone.
Yeah, sometimes it might, I can completely understand that. Yeah, it's hard enough, like what I said, being a first-time mum and, you know, the feeling of overwhelmness that comes.
Yeah.
But also to add to that, you know, having a son with a disability, having to navigate through all that as well is going to be quite, you know, challenging. You've done an amazing job. Absolutely done an amazing job.
You.
So now Jaden's finished school. He's now 21. So what's there for Jaden now? So, I mean, it's hard. We attend expos, we speak with families, and they always say, now what for my son? I've been able to work this whole entire time. He's now finishing school, or she's now finishing school. I'm now having to plan for the next stage of their life. So how did you navigate that, and what's Jaden's goals now that he's 21?
Well, thank you for that. I'm really inspired by Jaden.
Yeah.
From a point of, we all want unconditional love,
Yeah.
and I found that with my son.
Yes.
So my world and my story is different to many other parents, and many parents need to work because the mortgages and obviously things are, as you know, very hard, very hard. So two people have to work.
Yeah.
We're in a bit of a different situation where we could be carers, and that we can still, with the help of family, of course, that I can still be able to be Jaden's mum.
Yeah.
So Jaden left school at 16 because he had a lot of medical issues, which meant he had spasms on his colon for every 2 hours for 3 years.
Wow,
and he used to cry and scream, which caused anxiety. So I took him out of school because I thought that I would drop him off and I would be ready to go to that gym.
Yeah. That didn't happen.
That didn't happen. I had to do the U-turn and, you know, come back and get him. And so I decided, well, Jaden, let's call you J-Man because you're now left school and let's create. Took him out of school and we had him at home.
Yeah.
While he was at home, we built a home, we moved, we had changes, NDIS happened.
Yeah.
We then were able to incorporate services that were aligned with Jaden.
Yeah.
And that meant in-home support. That meant therapists come to our home, make sure you don't have COVID. Test. And at the end of the day, we had music therapy, we have physiotherapy, exercise therapy.
Yeah.
And because Jaden also has scoliosis, which is 96 degrees.
Yeah. Wow.
Which means he can never sit up.
Yeah.
But he's working on it.
Yeah.
And so we have amazing services coming into our house.
Yeah.
But when NDI started, I was actually working.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I was helping a friend set up her service provider.
Yes.
kind of thing, doing the IT, learning how schedules and shift care and all those things.
Yeah. So I guess you still need something for yourself.
Well,
as
I had to. I don't stop. I never stop. I have worked, 2-3 days while I had Jaden.
Yeah.
And, worked in major corporations. And I believe that I have to learn things because my, although NDIS is right here, right now, Jaden has a fantastic package, which for the life of me, when we first got it, I thought, wow, this is a lotto.
Oh, that's great. That's
good.
But continued? Has that continued though for Jaden?
The NDIS has increased his package because he's obviously now a lot older, a lot heavier, and he has a lot more medical issues. So scoliosis, he's not sitting up. He's 21. He's still aspirating in the bed or choking.
Yeah, and
so
that's
somebody
scary.
has to watch him 24/7. You can't go to the toilet without going, oi, your turn to watch Jaden.
Yeah, okay.
And so So yes, it is now starting to increase, and now we're starting to go, well, hang on, we need 2 people. But do I really want all those people in my house?
Yeah.
Because I live there.
Yes, that's
I
your home.
work from
That's your
home.
Yes.
And I don't want to be able to walk out of my so-called office, which is really my room, and say, what on earth is he doing hanging up there? Because, I have to, and that's the frustration because I am his mother.
Yeah, that's
And then when you have people talk back to you and say that, oh, well, no, I know what's best. No, you don't. And we are always going to be strong parents.
Yeah.
We are always going to be strong advocates.
Absolutely.
And I think that the government does not realise how much work us carers do.
Yeah.
So NDI has been great for Jaden. It's been fantastic. I am self-managed.
Yeah.
So, well, self-managed means we have to do all the accountability. We have to do all the timesheets. We have to check everything. We have to do all the notes. In fact, we probably have to run a little bit like a small
business. Yes, absolutely.
So every day it takes an hour to do this.
Yeah.
And, people go, oh, well, why don't you do plan manage? Well, no, this is our choice.
Yeah.
Because I've done plan manage in the past, and we were questioned how many PMATs we had to buy.
Yeah.
I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
You don't live my life. You don't change bedding 2-3 times a night. So don't tell me what to do.
Absolutely.
I need and I know, and we are aligning and we understand the policies and what we can or can't buy.
Yeah.
So I just choose to be self-managed and suffer through the pain.
You're doing a good job, obviously. Yeah. You know what your son needs. You know what you guys need. So why have somebody else tell you that what you can and can't buy?
Yeah. And
at the end of the day.
Exactly.
So,
exactly. And, I can do the systems. I don't have a problem with that.
Yes.
So NDIS has been great. Service providers are very interesting. I think that a lot of service providers have popped up that are not registered.
Yes.
We believe in the ones that are registered because you have to be accountable and you have to be audited.
Absolutely.
And so the changes with NDIS is going to be massive for many. We just don't know. As long as Jaden can have the package, can be able to be reaching his goals is to be able to create, be part of ebooks.
Yes.
I've kind of made him a little bit more IT, animations, music. He loves music.
Yeah.
And I've decided to create events out of what Jaden can do. And through his eyes, I've created what is best suited for Jaden. Then I realized there are so many people just like Jaden that want the same. We don't want to put I don't want to put Jaden in a day program.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't suit him because he sleeps a lot.
Yeah, yes.
He needs to be lied down. He needs to be monitored. There is no way he's going to have that kind of care than what we give him.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, if he has 1 or 2 years left of his life, let's give him the best time.
Yeah.
So that's why we created My Cool Events.
Yes. So I remember finding My Cool Events, 4 years ago?
Wow.
4 years ago?
Maybe
4
3
years ago?
Yeah.
Oh. I found it on Facebook and I've always wanted I followed you on Facebook, just seeing what it was about and looking at the events that you had I thought, wow, that's amazing.
Oh.
And just recently I got in contact with you so that we can have a chat about what it is and how we can work together. And here you are, Tanya. So tell me, what is My Cool Events and how did this all come about and what are the things that you guys are doing?
Oh, wow.
I think it's great.
Thank you. Thank you. We are quirky.
Yeah.
We love animation.
Yeah.
And we love to be ourselves, albeit at times we're a bit crazy.
Yeah.
Because I believe that if you jump into their world, the participants' world, you are their friend.
Yes.
If you jump out of their world, you cannot connect with them emotionally. So we jumped in and I jumped in. We were riding down the highway to a therapy session and we heard Tones and I one of her songs, what's that song? I want to be
I'm not sure.
Fly. I think it was Fly. You can fly.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I decided, well, Jaden, I think you can fly.
Yeah.
So let's create a company. How about we create a company? And he kept doing the cool sign.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so that's where that's come from.
I kept seeing him saying, Mum, that's really cool. I really love Tones and Night. Can we please get?
Yeah.
No, Jay, we can't afford that. So as we were driving, we were coming up with names and we came up with My Cool Events because Jaden can do Macathon.
Yeah.
And so hence we created a logo that represents how Jaden says cool in sign language. And that's how we started our adventures because everything has to be cool for Jaden to be able to do.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to be able to collaborate with Vito, who is a friend of mine in Sydney, and he's an artist and, well, he's just our creator. Let's just call him our creator. And we are very much about education, creation, and hence we create ebooks. Animations. Look, we don't care if people don't like it. It's a story about a dog and my son's life. So if you go on Apple Books or Google Play, those ebooks are all the links are on mycoolevents.com. My Cool Events is basically something that I created for participants who are stuck in SIL homes, SDA homes, who have no friends, those who have left home, that are stuck with mum and dad, those who have a support worker aimlessly walking around the shopping centre. Right, and not communicating to them. And those who just don't get them, we run on grants, by the way. So what we do is I create events that bring together live bands, bring together sensory music, chill out sections where we do sound healing. We also do dancing. Line dancing. I basically do theme things, you know. So in the morning, 3 coffees. What do we do today? Well, we do everything from, hey, we're going to do 80s. We bring a DJ in. Hey, we're going to do silent disco walk through the forest or, let's go to the Hyperdome. We're partnered with the Hyperdome now, which is fantastic. So there, My Cool Events usually runs free events on that particular area. Because that's what we need. We need community people to believe in us.
That's right.
I don't get paid.
And I was going to say, you don't charge under the NDIS plans either.
Well, the way My Cool Events run is basically we partner with the Hyperdome, which is a shopping centre, and we could do many shopping centres like this. And what they do is they want to be able to have the community participation changes for people with disability, and we incorporated our ideas into that little section. So we do things like gold class movies. We showcase our ebooks, and then we have another extra movie. But everything that I do is risk managed because most of our participants are in wheelchairs, that's why we're different. I don't want to be big. We're not about us. We're not about money. We're about friendship. And if Jaden, J-Man, can hang out with a lovely lady or many friends, that is what we're here for.
Absolutely.
We're here to create friendship. The participants come with their support worker, so we don't take any business from anywhere others.
It's literally just a social gathering.
We're trying to do social gatherings. We go, I do have to say that with My Cool Events, it takes months to prepare one thing.
Absolutely.
Stencil painting, drumming, what kind of music, what do we do? Come on, Jay, man, tell me what song you like, you know. Spotify, we do shopping disco. I'm the DJ. but Jaden has taken me out of this mindset of being so process orientated to being crazy orientated. And it's made my world so magical. And I just I believe that our events are also educating support workers.
Yes.
Because often, and I don't mean to say this, but often I see them walk around or they go to places, they're not even talking to the participant.
Yeah.
And they're not engaging and they're not showing and they're not, so I think that I make the support workers dance.
Absolutely.
With their participants.
That's what they're there for, isn't it? As well, to interact with their participants.
Look, it is for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
For a little bit of your time, if you can just be their friend, be their world, make them laugh, they will go home giggling because of these memories.
Absolutely.
So your role as a support worker is enormous.
Yeah.
If it gets boring, you're not in the right job.
That's right.
Because you're dealing with angels that have so many different concepts of medical, health, mental.
Absolutely. So for that small period of your time in that day, at least make it worthwhile.
Make it worthwhile because what you're doing is you're creating memories for them.
Absolutely. And you're right. I mean, I don't want to criticize support workers because there's some great support workers out there. However, I have been at the park where I have seen a participant sitting there and a support worker has been on their phone. Talking on their phone. I've literally come back, taken my son out for a bike ride, have come back and they're still on their phone.
Yeah.
That's not what being a support worker is about.
No, and I do understand some participants don't want you to talk or engage, but I think that something
You've got to try.
Something has to change in this industry. I think that a lot of people are looking at our kids as money and we're not money. And, this is what NDIS has made our kids be the money machine.
Absolutely.
And that's where us parents look at, you're getting a lot of money to hang out with my son. And what do I get?
Not much. Your son didn't get a lot at all out of it.
But I'm not here about money. What I'm saying is, okay, we have to respect. We have to respect the carers, parents. We're parents first and foremost. We're allowing you to look after our kids. We're allowing you to give them the love and the support that we have sacrificed.
Yeah.
Right? And then at the end of the day, we want to be acknowledged.
Absolutely.
Us parents and carers. But this is what I'm doing for Jaden. I'm doing the My Cool events for Jaden. But I also would say to businesses, large businesses, well, we have a donations page, but we don't get that because they don't understand why it's important.
Yeah.
What are you trying to do? We are quirky. We're creating a RB and a music event that represents a theme, or we're trying to give them a memory. We're trying to, but in order to be able to see our memories, we capture that through photos.
Yeah.
We capture that through smiles.
Yeah.
And when you look at our videos and our previous videos, have a look at it because you can see their eyes are smiling.
Absolutely.
They are engaged.
Yeah.
They got to listen to a live band.
Absolutely. Something that they probably would have never had the opportunity to.
Well, how do you go out?
Yeah.
Okay, many participants do go out.
Yeah.
They do go out to these events. Jaden can't.
Yeah.
Someone just has to sneeze.
Yeah.
There's not a wheelchair dance area.
Yeah.
There is nothing that is going to be hoping that someone is not going to jump over him or fall over him. He doesn't go where alcohol is,
Yes.
And he doesn't want to hear people talking down to him, about him, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not here to exclude Jaden. I'm here to say, hey, we're all abilities.
Yeah.
If you really want to jam with us, come and dance with us.
Yeah.
But respect us.
Yeah.
That is it.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Tanya. That was really, really good. I can see, when we were talking about Jaden, the first time you found out that, he's got a disability, I can see in your face the emotional, state that you would have been. You can still see that. And I say thank you. Thank you.
Could I just talk about one more thing? Sorry.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Last thing. So, so not only what the missing link is,
Yeah.
you have disability, you have NDIS. I think what's missing is carers.
Yeah.
And I think what's happening at the moment is massive.
Yeah.
And Carers Foundation is another person that is also trying to look at the maze of what's happening.
Yeah.
Parents are breaking down. NDIS is not saying that.
Yeah.
You cannot throw money just at the participant, get the participant away from the. That's not the issue.
Yeah.
The issue is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. And so I suppose, just ending one little thing is that we're not just carers, we're parents.
Yeah.
And I think that it's time the government and the services recognise what we do, because we are the ones that are employing all these people.
Absolutely.
We're keeping NDIS alive.
Yeah. And I do believe when I worked for the NDIS back then that NDIS was supposed to support families, be families or parents, be parents, and somebody else come in and support, their loved ones so that families can continue to work together, I guess, as a family. However, that's not happening at the moment. There's been a lot of breakdowns because funding has been cut or NDIS hasn't given them the funds that, that they need. So it's becoming a bit hard for some families. So with Carers Foundation, are they there to support families like yourselves?
We need a bigger support.
Yeah.
We do have Carers Foundation. They're trying to create a space where if there was a crisis for a parent, they can run to and they can have a sleep, right?
Yeah.
So, and if there's a relationship breakdown, because often carers, relationships break down due to all sorts of things.
Yeah.
And then is a single mom breaking down. Where do you go? You've got no money to do that.
Yeah.
So Ronnie is just trying to create the space.
Yeah.
But we do have a number of advocates that's supposed to help us. We do have the Bill Shortens who's supposed to understand us.
Yeah.
But we're not understood. There is a crisis. There is a crisis not only with Liberal or Labor.
Yeah.
There is a humanity crisis happening at the moment.
Yeah.
And although people know the rents are going up, carers' pension doesn't go up.
No,
we don't get super.
Yes. Yeah.
None of us get super, right? And if our child dies and we cared for it for 35 or 65 years, we have to go back to work.
Absolutely.
Just like that. What's happening?
Yeah.
There has to be a new way forward.
Yeah.
There has a mandatory skill update or therapy. I mean, I can talk about this for ages because that is such a breaking point here.
Yeah.
If we didn't allow support workers to come into our home, support workers wouldn't have a job.
Absolutely.
Service providers wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
So we're important.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Tanya. And it was lovely to have you here today.
Thanks, Cheryl. Thank you. Good luck.